Or the West Coast game where, in the end, your own waste makes you pay a price?
Yeah, and there's no doubt. I mean, our conversion tonight was our biggest issue, and it has been a couple of times this year, more than a couple of times probably. And if we're to be really honest, we'd say that's the thing that's stopping us making that next step, stopping us beating the sides that we need to beat to become a genuine threat in the competition.
So how would you describe forward 50 entry, particularly at the end?
Oh, it's disappointing. I mean, what you'd look at is you go, I think the simple answer, Rich, we go, they kick 7-1 from marks, we kick 3-7. We give ourselves plenty of opportunities. We haven't got the finish in our game yet to hurt sides with the number of entries. Like we get 68 or 60, I'm not quite sure, 68, 70 entries a game. That's enough for any side to kick a winning score, and we only kicked 20 points or something after half time.
But is it 68 to a lot of intercept marks by Richmond, so the 68's probably misleading?
Yeah, no, we've been able to lock it in, put it in our half a bit, but they've been able to get through us when they've needed to. But it's our execution, there's no doubt about that. I mean, we did a pretty good job in the first half of restricting a great player down there in Rance, and then the second half he did an amazing job of getting the game back on his terms, and we kept kicking it to more than him once, and we kicked it to other players once too. So that's what's been a bit of a trend.
I was just going to say, can you just that Rance Trengove matchup? Can you explain your thinking there, and I suppose why it was an effective tactic for a half, but probably not as effective?
Yeah, correct. And that's exactly what happened. For the first half, we were really pleased with it, and we're going, okay, this is a good result for us. We've got two really defensive teams going at it, and we hold a 15-odd point margin. Rance is not having much of an impact. We're pretty pleased with that, and even two-thirds of the way through the third quarter. But then Rance just he put himself amongst the game and said, OK, I'm going to play the game that I want to play.
How would the group wear the tag of pretenders now? If you haven't beaten a side in the top 8, people will say you're a bunch of pretenders.
I'd say it's fair. As I said, the commentary around that stuff is obvious, and for us, we can't deny it. We're not going to dispute it. We know we're working to get that right, and we haven't been able to, again tonight, get that right. We've played some sides where we've had great opportunities, and we haven't been able to put it away in any of those games. So we have to wear the tag of not good enough against the top 8 sides when it counts the most.
And would you like to have been able to isolate Robbie Gray more in the second half and perhaps clear it out a bit for him, or was that not the intention?
Yeah, no, you'd certainly like to, but obviously the opposition do something about that, and they're not going to let that happen. So Rance will position himself, or any of their, they position themselves where they want to be. It's not the old days where if you're one-on-one, you can walk them away. Footy doesn't get played like that anymore. It's a real war and a real chess game where you have to battle the numbers, and you've got to be better when the numbers are going against you.
Just that 3-7 from set shots, I mean, it has become, I'm not sure what the stats are all year, but it seems to have been a bit of a problem all year at times.
No, it is. It's not seems to be. It is. Yeah. It's absolutely a problem for us, and we do, like every side, you do plenty of work on it, but you've got to be able to execute when the pressure's at its highest, and for us, that's game day, and so far we haven't been able to do that consistently enough. Sometimes we've got it okay, but, games when you're playing the top end, you've got to get it right.
Where did this game turn? In spite of that, I mean, you probably should have been more than 16 points up 20 minutes into the third quarter, but then the momentum changed. Where did
they kicked a couple of really, really strong goals, and I think that happens when you get away. You kick some special goals, and that builds a bit of belief from them and dints us a little bit, but we've got to be better than that. That's what's the trouble. You've got to respond. When it's your turn to do it, you've got to go down the other end and take your shots and put them away.
Can you identify, Ken, any other deficiencies in your game other than finishing tonight? Like, if you look at numbers, they're pretty good. And
that's been our game.
Up okay.
That's been our game. You can look for all the other numbers, but the reality is, if you don't get the scoreboard right when you get your chances, you leave sides in games, and they're able to. I think we conceded 76 or 7 points. I don't even know what it was for the Oppo. That's not a score that you should lose to when you get the entries that we get. If you do that week in, week out, you're going to win a lot of games of footy.
So therefore the margin between winning and losing isn't that great, really, is it? Like, the games have been quite tight, so you start putting them on the scoreboard. Do you take any heart in that, or the fact that you got no points from those games?
Yeah, no, I sit here really disappointed because we've had that before. And we get the question about why we're not able to beat the better teams in the competition. For us, it's as much, nothing more than conversion, because most of our other parts of our game are done pretty well. But it's conversion, it's finish inside 50. That's what separates you. Big moments, kick the goals you need to kick, make the goals you need to make, hit the kicks you need to hit going inside forward 50.
Yeah, I think last week where you benefited from space, did you get trapped into confined spaces here, or did Richmond just make you, or did your own turnovers trap you into that?
Look, I think Richmond's pressure was pretty good, no doubt. Like, they're a good defensive team too, but I think we played as big a part in the problems we had tonight ourselves more than Richmond. You know, we needed to be better than we were when we had those opportunities. Some of them opportunities didn't have a lot of pressure on them.
How do you train it, Ken? Can you train it, the conversion? Or?
Yeah, well, what happens is it becomes bigger and bigger. So you've got to learn to deal with it, and until you break through that, you're going to continue to have the same problems. Now we get a chance next week to go over to Perth and play a side over there who we did a very similar thing to when we played them here earlier in the year. So we've got to go back and understand. And look, as a football club, you can't work any harder than we're working currently on our inside 50 conversion. It is on our agenda every training session we have. Like our kicking, because our contested ball, all our other stuff, so our defensive numbers, they all look like we're doing things pretty well. But the couple of key components of our game we've still got to keep at. And the only way you can do that is you just got to keep at it.
So what's it look like at training?
What's it look like at training?
Yeah,
exactly that. You'll see, if you come and watch us train, you'll see inside 50 drills going on all the time, and we are looking at the detail as closely as any club can possibly look at it, because we spend so much time in that space. We have experts looking at our entries. We have all sorts of things going on and analysing our skill deficiency. So we're not leaving any stone unturned as a football club.
But are the results better there? Are the results better at training? And then it becomes that issue of pressure of a game day and the way in which the players get...
Yeah, we're certainly able to perform better at training than we have in games at the moment. Now, so you stick at it. So that'll transfer. At some stage, you hope that's going to transfer into games, and that's what we have to do. We have to stick at what we're doing, because we can't... I can't go back there and say there's something else that's hurting us. There's not a new trick that's hurting us. It's really obvious to us what's hurting us, and it's ourselves with our conversion.
And the extent of Hamish Hartlett's injury?
Just a bad cork. You know, if you've seen it, I don't know whether you've seen it on the screen, but it was just a knee right into the thigh. So you would imagine that shouldn't be too big a deal, other than stop it from bleeding and recover like a normal corky.
What happened with Homsch in the end? Was it you weren't happy with the matchups, or was it the knee in the end?
No, there was a little bit of both in that. There's no doubt about that. Jack wasn't absolutely in his best shape coming off the knee. So, and Richmond challenges with their small. So we knew that, and we were prepared. Broadbent made it interesting for us for the whole week. So that's why you know what I'm like. I'm normally straight up and down. This is what we're going to do. We had to wait and see that Broadie was going to be okay tonight after training. Thanks.